Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano, and on today's program we'll learn all about this year's Wreaths Across America program right here in Quincy. First though, as always, we check out the weather and the news for you this morning. Currently in Quincy, it's bright, brisk and breezy out there, 35 degrees right now. Won't get up much higher than that today. Maybe the upper 30s. That wind is going to have a bite to it all day long. Look at the lows tonight. It'll drop below freezing, upper 20s for this evening. A little bit warmer tomorrow with sun and clouds, highs into the lower 40s. Nice on Sunday, partly cloudy. Sunday's highs into the mid-50s. For Veterans Day on Monday, not too bad. Sun and clouds with a high Monday in the low 50s. But again, it's a chilly 35 degrees in Quincy right now. In the news today, those brothers charged in connection with the death of 44-year-old Quincy native Christopher McCallum after a fight at the Nickerson Post in Squantum back in January are now free on bail. Matthew and Stephen Potter pleaded not guilty in Norfolk Superior Court. Matthew Potter is charged with manslaughter. Stephen is charged with assault and battery. Prosecutors say the fight erupted outside the Post after a live musical performance. Witnesses say the Potter brothers were fighting with the McCallum brothers when Matthew Potter struck Christopher McCallum, causing him to fall and strike his head. He was taken off life support at Boston Medical Center the next day. McCallum leaves behind a wife and 3 sons. Quincy police had recused themselves from the case early because the Potters are the sons of a retired Quincy police detective and brothers of an officer on the force right now. Those suspects are due back in court in January. Well, Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch will become the longest-serving mayor in the city's history. After this past Tuesday's election, Koch earned 69% of the vote compared to challenger Brenda Ryan's 28%. Koch was first elected to office back in 2007. Also this past Tuesday, Ward 5 Councilor Chuck Phelan won back that seat that he held from 1988 to 1996. During our live election night coverage, Phelan offered his thanks to his family and supporters.
There's an incredible thing of service with my family, going all the way back to my great-grandfather, who was a sergeant on the Quincy Police. My grandfather was a lieutenant on the Quincy Fire. My father was a longtime policeman. And the family's been in the city almost 5 generations. And I had worked for the city for a while. I had been away. When my son was born, I decided to step off the city council to take care of my family. And I'm retired now, and I see some issues going on around Ward 5 that I think I could really be there and help and bring some resolution to, and I think I'd be able to really help the situation. And I've always wanted to serve the city. I enjoyed when I was a city councilor before, and there's some issues with development. There's some issues with Wollaston Center that needs some redevelopment and needs some TLC. And I think I've done it for a number of years, and I own a business with my wife in Wollaston. And I think there's a lot of issues around in the neighborhood, and they need some representation, and I feel very strongly I can deliver that for them.
Phelan fills the seat that's being vacated by Kirsten Hughes. He earned 55% of the vote compared to Stephen Christo's 44%. All the incumbent ward councilors and at-large councilors were re-elected, along with the incumbent school committee members, Paul Bergoli and Catherine Hubley. Frank Santoro won the seat being vacated by James Diamicius, narrowly edging out Courtney Perdios, 22 to 20% of the vote. Just under 25% of Quincy voters cast ballots on Tuesday. Well, the new Southwest Middle School in Quincy has been open since last April. However, it was only officially dedicated during a ceremony last month. Parents, teachers, and staff and students all attended the ceremony and toured the new school. Frank Flora says that he was honored to learn that the auditorium in the new school has been dedicated to his grandfather.
My name is Frank Flora. My grandfather was George DiPaolo, and he was a janitor here for 60 years, and this meant a lot to our family having, this named after him here, and beautiful school. Really excited for the neighborhood and for the city of Quincy. Thank you.
School replaces the Sterling Middle School at that site, which has since been torn down. Now, the library in the new school is dedicated in memory of former principal Ray Sterling. Mayor Thomas Koch says improvements to Kincaid Park across from the new school should be completed by next spring. Senator Ed Markey was the guest speaker at the recent Quincy Democratic City Committee breakfast. He used his time to spotlight the problems that he sees with the current administration in Washington.
Because I believe that the labor, social justice, climate, LGBTQ, and progressive activism that we see marching and chanting and rallying and protesting on the streets has awakened Americans to the division at the core of Donald Trump's hateful agenda. Not neighbor versus neighbor, not worker versus worker, not even right versus left. It is the wealthy few versus the rest of us. A woman still makes only 79 cents on the dollar. An African-American woman only makes 63 cents on the dollar. A Latina makes only 52 cents on the dollar as a white man. If we eliminated that gap, it would cut poverty in half for single mothers in our country, and it would add $500 billion to the gross domestic product of our country every single year. And so it is wrong that we still have not dealt with the gender pay equity issue.
The 72-year-old Markey is facing a challenge from Congressman Joe Kennedy. Markey was a congressman from the 7th Massachusetts District from 1976 to 2013 before being elected to the Senate. The 39-year-old Kennedy has represented the 4th District since 2013. Well, the 284th birthday anniversary of President John Adams was held recently at the United First Parish Church, Church of Presidents in Quincy Center. It included a keynote speech from Doug Adams, a direct descendant of the president. Adams used the podium to highlight the nation's second president's role in crafting the Massachusetts state constitution.
Amidst John's obliged appointments and foreign assignments, the event that literally governs us, the Massachusetts Constitution, was composed in a small farmhouse here in Quincy by John alone. The 250 delegates of the Massachusetts Constitution met in the First Church of Cambridge on September 1st, 1779, in the corner of Harvard Yard, where they appointed a committee of 3, John, Samuel Adams, and James Bowdoin, president of the convention. These 3 devolved to a committee of 1. John alone wrote our Constitution in 2 months. It was ratified in another month. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is the oldest functioning written constitution in the world. It is notable also as the first to guarantee public education.
During the ceremony, it was also announced that Bob Damon, who runs the visitors program at the church, will be leaving to take the role of City of Quincy public historian across the street at City Hall. Now that you're up to date with weather and news, let's check out our programming lineup for you for later on today here on Quincy Access Television. Starts with a replay of this program currently in Quincy today at 5 o'clock. After that, at 6, join us for Sound Advice with attorney Tom Williams.
Hello, folks. I'm attorney Tom Williams, and welcome to Sound Advice.
Currently in Quincy, the interviews at 6:30. We get a preview of Monday's Veterans Day Parade. Then at 7 o'clock, Faces of South Asia. Tonight, all-inclusive community is the topic. You can see that full ceremony of the John Adams wreath laying tonight at 7:30 on Channel 8.
Ceremony in honor of John Adams' birthday.
Then at 8:30, Sam Gentili and Basic Black perform at QATV's Open House. Democracy Now! Tonight at 11 on Channel 8. Check out Channel 9 every day. Learn about different Quincy City committees and various activities throughout the city. We'll start at 5:30 with Quincy in Focus. Update DPW at 6 o'clock, looking at the fall season. Brand new FYI program from the Quincy Health Department tonight at 6:30. The seasonal flu. Also a new State View with State Representative Bruce Ayers at 7 o'clock. 7:30 in the know, this year's Wreaths Across America here in Quincy. At the Kennedy Center at 8 o'clock with grief counselor Beth Rotondo this evening. And then at 9 o'clock, find out what's happening at your library for the rest of November.
Welcome to
Get a complete program schedule over on our website. It's qatv.org. And when you get there, just click on Program Schedule. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our weekly ad, too, in the Quincy Sun. Coming up, we take a look at a few of the current events and activities that are featured on our electronic bulletin board on Channel 8 for your information. Stay with us. We're back with you in just 1 minute. Welcome back. Here is a check of some of the current events and activities we're featuring right now on our electronic bulletin board on Channel 8 for you to know about, like the Union Congregational Church inviting you to their Christmas fair November 16th from 9 to 3. This year, you will find some homemade baked goods, handcrafted items, jewelry, the White Elephant table, much more. Plus, there'll be a raffle to win a handcrafted cornhole game. Christ Church on Quincy Avenue in Quincy Center inviting you to their annual Christmas fair. That'll be on November 22nd and 23rd. They'll have all kinds of holiday treats, gift cards, raffles, and more. They call it the best fair in the greater Quincy area. All are welcome to attend. Quincy Quarry and Granite Workers Museum and the Department of Conservation and Recreation will be joining forces to present History Happened Here. This is November 23rd, 10 to noon, up at the museum on Raschuti Drive in West Quincy. You'll see stone cutting demonstrations, learn about Quincy's quarrying history. You're advised to wear sturdy footwear, and kids must be accompanied by an adult. Call 617-698-1802. Extension number 4 for more information about that free program. And Fair Saturday events will be held in Quincy on November 30th, marking that international recognition of the arts and culture. And the Quincy Art Association will be hosting an exhibit at the Quincy Historical Society on Adams Street in Quincy Center. You should visit fairsaturday.org for all the details. And if you have an event or an activity you'd like to promote, visit our website, qatv.org. Just download a bulletin board request form, fill it out, and send it in. We'll get your message up here on Channel 8 too. Coming up, we chat with Christine Cugini of Wreaths Across America next. Welcome back. For the second year in a row, the Wreaths Across America program is coming to Quincy this year. Last year, the grave of every veteran at Mount Wollaston Cemetery was adorned with a wreath. This year, the goal is to hit every single veteran's grave in the city. And Christine Cugini is the project coordinator for that. And Christine, it's a big task.
It's a great task,
Yeah.
and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Well, we appreciate you coming by here to talk to us a little bit about this program and
Thanks
about
for
yourself. I should thank you for your service to our military. Tell us
an
a
honor.
little bit about yourself, if you could.
I joined the Navy right out of high school. I was 17 years old. I don't tell many people, but I tricked my mother into signing my paper and told her it was for the physical alone and it had nothing to do with me going in. So 17, I went in October 1st and went to Orlando, Florida for boot camp, and then was stationed on a destroyer tender, which repaired and supplied the other naval ships out of Norfolk, Virginia. So I was a boatswain mate, which I was a crane operator and signalman. That was my main job.
Wow.
As on the ship. So we had 4 cranes, and I was part of Desert Storm, Desert Shield. So that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But,
So at 17, you knew then that you wanted to serve
well, I knew
somehow?
I wasn't going to go to. 17 is so young to graduate high school, and now you kind of. I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Okay.
But I am one of 6 children.
Okay.
I'm the oldest daughter. I have 4 brothers, and I was the only one that served. And my dad was a Marine.
Is that
So
right?
I was very happy to somewhat
Yeah.
follow.
Follow in his
Yeah,
footsteps.
absolutely.
The big question is, what did your mom say when she actually found out that you tricked her?
She was okay. I think she would have. It would have been harder had I
Yeah.
regretted, but there's never a day.
Yeah.
No regrets. No regrets at all.
Very good. Well, thank you for your service.
Absolutely, it was an honor.
How did you get in touch with Wreaths Across America? How did that happen?
I answered a Facebook post on from Mass Fallen Heroes, and they were bringing. They wanted to bring veterans to represent Mass Fallen Heroes down to Arlington National Cemetery on National Wreaths Across America Day. So they said, what would make you the right person to represent them? So I wrote a paragraph just explaining my my past, where I am today, and what I'd like to see, and I was chosen to go down with them.
Okay. Well,
It was an emotional weekend, and it changed me. And at the end of the day, I went back to my hotel room and immediately researched how to bring Wreaths Across America to Quincy.
okay.
And
And here we are.
and here we are.
Year number 2 now.
Year number 2.
Yeah.
And that's, it's such a beautiful thing.
What happens at Arlington on December 14th?
It would be the same
Okay.
as what we do. There's a ceremony. It's bigger there.
Obviously, yeah.
But to see the trucks coming in with all the wreaths, they really do a parade of these tractor trailer trucks and millions of people that come and volunteer, and to see just so many people supporting the veterans, it's just a beautiful sight and so moving.
So every grave gets covered with a wreath at
They try,
Arlington?
yes.
Wow.
They do try.
I think it would be surprising to folks, myself included, that the government just doesn't automatically do that. it's
What
the,
an
it's
idea!
the National Cemetery.
I know. It would be great.
Yeah.
That's maybe something we could ask some of our
Okay, well, that's
leaders.
That's a bigger project. We want to
Absolutely.
focus on Quincy,
just
right?
Quincy for now.
For now,
I
yeah.
can't change the world in one day.
As I mentioned, last year was the first year that it took place here in Quincy. A resounding success, right?
It was.
Yeah.
We had fundraising was great. We were able to raise enough funds to cover the 3,200 volunteers. We had over 300 volunteers
great.
that day. And people were just so grateful and came up and thanked me for bringing this to Quincy, because it's so important, and they appreciated being able to say thank you to our veterans that are no longer with us.
Yeah, it was a very moving ceremony, I know, for a lot of folks, and younger children especially, some of the scouting troops that got involved, and
It's so
some of the other
great.
students, to see them really honor their forefathers,
It's, of course, honoring and remembering our veterans is very important.
Sure.
But to see the children there, to see the kids getting involved, so whether they're brought by a parent, they still spoke and took part in laying these wreaths, and it was beautiful. And it's so touching to see them want to come back and reach out. We had Braintree football, we had Quincy hockey, we had Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Kids just want soccer teams that just want to come together as a group and do their part, and it's beautiful to see the children getting involved.
And that's the bigger picture, isn't it? It's the wreaths are nice,
It's
certainly,
beautiful.
and they're a tribute, but it's the act behind it.
It is the act
of
behind
bringing the folks together.
Absolutely,
for
and
that
just
purpose, yeah.
remembering, there's other days during the year that we can, remember our fallen, but the holidays is a special time for families,
Yeah.
and I think also having them being honored and remembered during the holidays is really important.
So that was just Mount Wollaston, 3,200. You're going to more than double that this year.
7,300 across 7
7,300.
cemeteries in Quincy.
Tell us about that day, December 14th.
December 14th, National Wreaths Across America Day.
Okay.
We'll start the ceremony about 11:15 in the morning. And we'll
At Mount Wollaston?
At Mount Wollaston
Okay.
again.
Where at Mount Wollaston, Christine?
It's at the top, same location as last year,
Yep.
so it's right behind where the veterans section
Okay.
is. It's 11:15. We'll have a short speaking program, and then at noontime we'll begin laying the wreaths and
Okay.
honoring our veterans.
Okay, so there will be some folks there at Mount Wollaston, but at that point, you'd like volunteers to go to other cemeteries
Other
too, right?
cemeteries,
Yeah.
and if you don't want to come to the ceremony,
Mm-hmm.
that's fine too. You can go to the closest cemetery or the cemetery of your loved one that you want to honor.
I would think that family members would want to, obviously, if they have a veteran, to
Absolutely.
do their own
Absolutely.
tribute, yeah. So Mount Wollaston, Snug Harbor,
Snug
on
Harbor.
Palmer Street, Sailor's Home over on Fenno Street.
Yes.
It's over in Beechwood Knoll there. Obviously Pine Hill.
Pine Hill.
West Quincy. Historic Hancock Cemetery next to City Hall.
Absolutely.
Really?
All of our veterans, they all,
So we're
all
talking
of them.
Revolutionary War here.
yes, we are.
Okay. Wow. Hall Cemetery in Hall Place, and then the Christ Church Cemetery
Yes.
next to St. John's Church. Okay.
It's a big goal.
It's a big goal, yeah.
is, but-
And to help you pay for that goal, there's a big fundraiser coming up.
There is.
Yeah.
We have a fundraiser tomorrow at the Morissette Post,
Yeah.
starting at 7 p.m.
Okay.
until 11 p.m. $20 to get in.
Okay.
We have some great raffle prizes.
Okay, do tell.
We have Bruins tickets. We have a weekend in Vermont.
Nice.
We have great baskets that people created. We have several Quincy restaurants have donated
Great.
gift cards. Coops, the Shanty, Fuji. So a great array of nice items to raffle off. So
Fun.
we're excited.
Okay.
And a great DJ that's going to have people excited, maybe dance a little, you never know.
Excellent. That's Morissette Post, 7 to 11, November 9th, right?
Yes.
Tomorrow night?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then the actual day is December 14th. So obviously, do folks have to sign up or just show up that day?
Just show up.
Okay.
You can absolutely send me an email
Yep.
if there's a group coming. That would be nice because maybe we can organize people in areas,
Right.
but generally, the more the merrier. And
Okay.
it really is important that we get as many as we can.
Okay. I did a donation last year, and the nice thing too is the recipient, the family's recipient receives an acknowledgement in the mail
Yes.
saying that somebody has donated a wreath
They do.
in their
They
loved one's
do.
name.
Wreaths Across America really does a great job of reaching out to other people. So it's
It means something.
It does.
It really does.
It does.
The national website is wreathsacrossamerica.org, right?
Yes.
But your email, christinecugini1@gmail.com.
yes.
Oh,
That's for any questions. I
Okay.
can send the direct link for donations that way. I can send you the information regarding the event as well as the December 14th time and information,
Okay.
parking, all that.
the logistical stuff.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
the fun stuff.
Or just give the Veterans Services Offices a call, too, at 376-1194. I know
Yes.
they'll be helping out.
They're a great help.
Yeah.
They are.
Thanks so much, Christine.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I hope it helps get the word
Oh,
out.
I'm sure it will. Quincy will do this right.
And happy Veterans Day.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're very welcome. Nice
Take
to see
care.
you. Just enough time to recap the forecast for you for the rest of the day. Today, what you see is what you get out there. Sunny, windy, and cold with temperatures barely 40 degrees this afternoon. Look at tonight. We're talking frost on the pumpkin, lows in the upper 20s. Very nice weekend coming up, really. Tomorrow will be a little bit warmer, not nearly as windy, so better leaf raking weather with highs in the lower 40s. Nice and toasty on Sunday, mid 50s. It looks good, too, for the Veterans Day Parade on Monday. Clouds and sun with a high 52. Thanks again to Christine Cugini for joining us here on the program.
Thanks
to our
much.
crew, and thank you for watching. We're off Monday, by the way, for Veterans Day. Back with you next Friday with Rich Fernandez of Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital, Milton, on another edition of Currently in Quincy. We'll see you then.